Hello everyone, and welcome to another scrapbook layout process video where I'm using these storybook papers. I can't get enough of these designs. I love the black and white, and for this one I'm going more along the princess style with these icons with the unicorn, the little bird, but it still has the arrows and the castle that we get from the side that has the dragon on it. So as you can tell from the title that I've got here, it's going to be Love This Story, but you could just have Love This, or you could have This Story. I don't know about you, but when I create titles like this with the offset features, I love doing the overlays, and I've already adhered all of this. But the cool thing about this one and the font that I've used is that the letters have cut out in such a fashion that I can double up on the title. So it's almost like a twofer because I've cut this out of the middle. I have two titles, or I can just use Love on a card or on another project, and I can use Story or This Story. I've kept the little dot for the eye. So this is really great. If you do this sort of cutting on Design Space, you get two for the price of one. And I'll put a link in a video that I shared last April, I think it was, where I actually give a little tutorial at the end of the process video for the scrapbook layout I was doing, and it shows you how to get this effect. As you can see, I've already got foam tape on this ready to go. I've got my design partially made here, and basically I've just cut strips of this, and I'm going to bring in some Mulberry ink. Quite often we do a lot of ink distressing around the outside of patterns, especially when they've got a white pattern on them so that they don't just disappear into the paper. But for this one I wanted a softer look, so I'm just coming in with Mulberry ink. This color here is Mulberry from the papers, and I'm simply going around the edges of this very quickly with my sponge dauber, and that will give it enough definition against the white so you don't lose the pattern. Now with these butted up against each other, there is a difference between this pattern here and the white edge, but when this one is up against the white edge of this print, it did get a little bit lost. Now what I like to do when I'm doing a page like this and I've got something and a pattern that runs right across is I start at one edge, so I'm at 6 1/4 here, and then I make sure that I'm at 6 1/4 on this side, and I work my way in so that when I get to the middle I can work out if I need to move these around just a little bit. They all fit quite well together. And the other thing I want to mention as I'm putting these pieces together is that I'm going to be assembling a unicorn. Now the unicorn is part of the Storybook Digital Art Collection from Close to My Heart. I've done a little bit of manipulation with it, and I've put an oval in here because with the unicorn you get all the pieces to build, and I'm going to build that on camera with you now. But I wanted to have him sort of peeking over the top of this border with my photos. So I'm going to bring in all the pieces and do a little bit of assembly with it. I've also sliced his horn as well so that I can piece in the other pieces, and I need to put this little book element together as well. So I've got that in my hand, so I'll start with that one now. This is a very fine cut. It is a Cricut access cut, and I've done a little bit of manipulation with it so that I can have the hearts all filled in. You can do this with the dot tape runner if you want to, and just support the areas where you're putting the glue over. The dots will just stick to these pieces, or you can put a little puddle of glue onto your all-purpose mat and just dab this in it. But I really like the fine tip on this Barely Art glue. It works really well with these sorts of cuts. It's a very fine cut. Now while this is still a little bit wet, I can move that around just so that I can get everything all nicely lined up. And then I'm going to just quickly put these hearts inside. Now I'm using the dark side of Ballerina and the dark side of Mulberry. Mulberry's more in the purple range, but I find when you put it with the Ballerina, it takes on more of a pinkish hue, and I really like that combination. So now I'm going to start putting my unicorn together. As I said, I did do a little bit of slicing on this, And that enabled me to have this piece to put directly on top of the unicorn horn rather than putting the pieces on and leaving a gap. And I like the fact that that gives a nice sparkly look to it. I'm going to put the little eyelashes on. The next step is putting on the ears, because he has a little bit of a flower crown that's going to be happening. So we just need to apply the ears first and the flower crown will go over the top. And it's a bit like doing a jigsaw puzzle when you put these pieces together. So you just have to make sure this side is a little bit wider, so that wouldn't have worked on this side. They are unique, these little ears. And then I need to find my Cricut mat, and I've actually kept all the pieces for the inside pieces of these horns on my Cricut mat because my little tray was getting a little bit full of everything else. So you can see with slicing this and making an outline for the horn, it's very easy just to slot these pieces in and there's no guesswork as to where they go. So keeping things on my Cricut mat for a little longer really does help. And I do have Cricut mats that are specifically for doing glitter paper. And I always find that after I've done the glitter paper cutting, I need to remove the blade from the housing of the Cricut so that I can just clean that off so there's not any remnants of glitter dust left on there. So now I just need to put this piece together. I've got this so that 2 of the flowers are in the mulberry and 3 are with the ballerina. So I just need to poke this little bit out that hasn't quite come out. And the ones that I want to adhere first are these mulberry ones. Now one of these flowers is a little bit bigger than the other, so the bigger one goes on this side. So what I'm going to do is just make sure that I have it all lined up in the right way. Turn that over, take that away so that it's kept in the same place, and put a little bit of glue around. If you get glue onto your all-purpose mat, it just comes off because nothing sticks to this all-purpose mat. So that's really handy. And then that should just fit, yes, I've got the dark side, I was just making sure, directly on top of that little flower wreath. And then I need to work it out exactly the same for this side. So I'm just going to turn this around until I get my flower nicely lined up and do exactly the same thing. And if you have a dot roller like this one, you can just run that over top of that so that it is all ready to just apply that. You don't have to use liquid glue for these. So that's the 2 flowers that you need to adhere first. And then I need to come in with the central flower. So what I'm looking for is something that looks a little bit like that dip that's up here. So got that lined up perfectly. Go around this and extend some of that glue onto the mulberry pieces and adjust that, and the same process for the outside ones. So now I just need to attach this to my crown. How cute does that look? You might have seen me do this on Instagram, and also I did a short on a shaped card that I designed for a unicorn, and I did it on hyper speed, but I thought it would be fun to actually make one on camera in a video for you. So as you can see from the back of this, this is an oval that I've put on, and I've welded all these pieces together to create a base, because the actual design has all the pieces that you would then put onto a card front. So I'm just going to bring everything back in. So this is where my little unicorn's going to go, right here. I think I'll place him so that he is somewhat over the photo. So I'm just having a little play around with the placements here. I've got another book to put over this side and another photo, so I can have the book coming over here. And I thought this would be fun to create on a layout. So this is almost like a story time book, or if you're like me, when I was reading stories to my children, I could probably fill up both pages of this book and this one in 1 week. So it could be a week of books. I think that would make it really, really cute. I'm going to go ahead and adhere all of these things, and then I'll be back because I want to use some of these black hearts to sprinkle around as well. So I've got everything adhered now, and I'm going to bring in some of these black hearts. I think that will help tie in some of the black. I'm going to bring some up here because there is quite a bit of white space at the top here. What I'm going to do is just tip these ones out onto my mat off to the side, and I'm going to use my pick up tool to help place them, and I'm also going to press out a few more, and I'm just going to work out exactly where I want all of these to go before I commit to them. I think I might like a big one down there. The pick up tool is great to use for paper as well as for sequins and things. So once I've got these all in place, I'm going to use it again so that I can put the glue on and then adhere the piece. I'm going to put, actually I think what I'll do is put this solid heart down here. I'm going to have the open one there, and I'm going to bring in another heart to this area. I absolutely love these chipboard or cardboard type pieces. And I think I'd like to bring in this little speech bubble, because to me that represents somebody actually telling the story. And I've got another thing that I'm going to do with this. I'm going to bring in some black onyx or onyx pearl and also some rose gold. I can't find my white onyx liquid pearls, and I was going to bring that in for a more subtle look as well. I took it for a weekend retreat and I haven't been able to find it since. I'm sure it's going to show up somewhere. And you know what? I think that's enough. I'm going to stop right there. When I start looking and trying to work out where another one might go, to me that means I need to stop what I'm doing and just stick down what I have, because if I can't work it out sort of straight away, it means that I've probably got enough. So you can see how easy it is to use this pickup tool and just put a little bit of glue down and adhere these pieces straight away. It really does make the placement of little tiny pieces so easy with the pickup tool. But when it comes to these larger ones, I'm going to bring in my tweezers again and put that down. I think it's cute to have a little heart like this leading in. Now, I know I had it up here, but actually I quite like it down here a little bit further, nestled just above this book. It sort of gives it a place to belong when it's with something else. And as I said before, dot roller will work really, really well on this, but I've just got the glue out at the moment, so I'm going with that. And it doesn't take long to add these special little touches, and you can see by adding the black up here, it makes the black of these books and the glitter. I've got black glitter for the eyelashes here. It just means that you are making all the black elements look like they belong, rather than these 3 items just standing out so much just on their own. I love the detail that these little hearts just give. So I'm going to start off with the rose gold and then decide whether or not I want to bring in the black onyx. The rose gold might just be enough. So as always, when you go to start something, just give a little squeeze first. And you know what? I think the rose gold is the wrong pink. I don't quite know which pink glitter paper this is. I put all my glitter papers into one storage. It's like a fridge bin type large box, and they all fit in there, and I take them out of their packets so that I can rifle through them. And I don't know what the name of this one is, but I think I've had it for quite some time. So why not use it up? All right, now I'm just going to try. You can see that I'm just getting this started, and I think just some tiny little black dots will work quite well. Now, I've started up here and I'm probably going to smudge that. So I always start, because I'm right-handed, I try to remember to start on the left-hand side of the page so that I don't put my hand over top, and it just adds just enough detail and makes things look like they all belong on the page. I'm just going to bring this up a little bit so that you can see the detail. And also this is a Cricut Access font as well, and I'll put the name of that in the description below, along with links to all the other products that I've used. But I love the sparkle and shine that the pink glitter is giving, and I just think this little unicorn is gorgeous, and it looks like she is reading along with the photos, and I can just see photos of story time, bedtime routines, or when children start reading on their own and you have to sit down with them, with their readers. I can just see photos like that on this sort of layout. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching as I put this really pretty page together. I don't often get to create pages like this with lots of pink and florals and things like that, and I have really enjoyed putting this together. Happy crafting. I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.